welcome to the UW-DECA Podcast. My name is Tayler, and I have a guest here today, the VP of Events for UW-DECA, Lauren Hanson. So thank you for coming and talking with me, Lauren.
Yeah.
So just to get started, if you want to tell everyone a little bit about yourself, maybe like where you're from, your major, etc.
Yeah, so I am from the Appleton area, so I went to Kimberly and Nina High School. I grew up there, and both my parents have lived in that area for most of my life. So it's about 2 hours north of here. But yeah, so I'm a marketing major, and I plan to graduate in spring, so I'm super excited. And like you said, I'm the VP of events so for Collegiate DECA. And when I'm not focusing on stuff with school, I work at Buffalo Wild Wings. I've been there for 5 years, so it's really easy for me to just go back and forth from Janesville to Appleton.
Awesome. Nice. Okay, so just for everyone to get to know you a little bit more, we're going to do a lightning round of 3 questions. So the first question is, if you could travel anywhere in the world right now, where would you go?
I would love to go to Europe. I studied French for like 5 years in high school, and I've always wanted to go to not like Paris. I know like everyone's like, oh my god, I want to go to Paris, but I would be more wanting to go to like northern France or southern France. Like those places are beautiful. Or even just, I love the history of Europe, like Italy or Germany. So, and I just feel like Europe has a lot to offer. So I'd love to go to Europe.
Yeah, that's super cool. I totally agree with you. If I could do a Europe backpacking trip,
Oh my gosh.
that would be awesome.
Yeah.
So next question. What was the last song that you listened to?
Oh man. So it's going to be really depressing, but Hold On.
Okay.
It's from Vampire Diaries. But I just remember I was listening to a really upsetting song, but I love it, and it just, I don't know, I love the show, so I gotta love the song.
Nice. Okay, so the last question for the lightning round is, if you could eat one food for the rest of your life, what would you eat?
Oh my gosh, mac and cheese. I love mac and cheese. I'm always down for it. And my favorite place to get mac and cheese would have to be Chick-fil-A. Have you ever had it from there?
I've never been to Chick-fil-A to get the mac and cheese. I've only had their chicken nuggets.
Oh my gosh. So the next time you go, you have to get mac and cheese. It is so good. They like make the mac and cheese and then they bake it.
Ooh.
So it has like another layer of cheese on top. So good. But yeah, mac and cheese, love it. Eat it anytime.
All right. So moving more to like the DECA side of things, how did you get involved with DECA? This could be high school, college, whatever you want.
Yeah, so I'd have to start because I've been in DECA all 4 years of high school, and then this will be my 8th year total, so 4 years in college. So my freshman year of high school, I was just like looking to get involved and be part of a club or get more involved with the school. So I started taking like a business class as one of my electives, and my business teacher was like, you have a lot of like really good potential, like you should join DECA. I'm the advisor for the org. I was like, okay, sure. I mean, I like business, it's interesting, and so I'll give it a try. And I started being more involved with DECA in high school, but I didn't really want to get too into it, so I started out slow. Like I would do the activities or like the small events that they would do, but I didn't really compete. And when I did my first competition, because in high school you have to do regionals and then you qualify to go to state, and I competed at regionals, but I didn't really have any like friends in DECA, so I was like kind of by myself. But I competed by myself, and I didn't even get past regionals, and it was like kind of like, okay, so I couldn't move forward, and it was really just like, I can't think of the word, but I wasn't like super motivated to get back into it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted to stay with the org because my my teacher in high school, she was always encouraging me to stay with it, and she was always really inspiring to me, and so I stuck with it, and I wanted to stay involved, but in high school, everyone kind of stayed, like, in their little clique. Like, the people who were good at DECA in high school, they kind of stuck together. Mm-hmm. And so when I transferred schools, I joined a different DECA org because they had it at both. And I competed with them, and I did a little bit better, but I still didn't really compete at all. And when I didn't even know that Whitewater had DECA when I came here. So when I was at the involvement fair, I saw Alex Bush, and she was, like, bubbly, all over the place, like, you should join DECA. And I was like, oh my gosh, you're right. And so I joined, and like I said, like, I was super nervous. I thought, oh my God, it's just going to be like high school, and I'm not going to compete. So freshman year, I was in the org, but I didn't compete. And I still, like, went to fall leadership, and I would do, like, events and activities and fundraisers. But then sophomore year, I was like, I want to compete and I want a partner, but I don't have any friends in DECA. And so that's when Emily was like, hey, like, Therese is here. Like, she wants to compete with a partner, but she doesn't know anyone either. And it was so weird because Therese and I had, like, already followed each other on social media from freshman year, and so we kind of knew each other, but we never talked before, and it just kind of clicked. So ever since then, I've been, like, heavily involved, and it just kind of, I don't know, it sounds really cheesy, but it really changed my experience in college, and just having a different outlook on being part of an org and, like, it meaning something. So that was really cool. But yeah, so
yeah, that's awesome. I would say that high school DECA and college DECA, collegiate DECA, very different experiences. And I'm so glad that, like, you were able to kind of, like, get rid of the judgments from high school DECA and move to collegiate DECA. Like, that's really awesome. Mm-hmm. So the next question is, do you have a favorite DECA memory?
Oh, yes. So my favorite DECA memory would have to be going to Orlando, Florida, and competing with Therese. It was crazy because we obviously were competing together for the first time, and we put together this prepared project, and we didn't even place at state with the competition. We, like, qualified. And so we spent, from state to internationals, we spent so much time altering it and making sure it was perfect, and, you know, taking the notes that the judges really gave us and taking it to heart. And when we competed at ICDC, it was, like, pumping each other up, hyping each other up, like, really practicing, taking the time. And when we qualified for top 10, it was like, oh my gosh. And then when we competed again, we thought it went so well, and we're like, oh my gosh, like, is this possible? And when we went on stage for top 10 and they called us up for second, I think I blacked out. If you look at the pictures, I'm, like, looking around, but it was such an amazing feeling. And especially being, like, my first year, like, really competing with DECA, it just, having that type of experience really changes everything for you, and it shows you a different perspective of, like, what it's like to really achieve something, and which I never felt with DECA before. So I think that would have to be, like, my favorite thing. And then walking off stage and, like, seeing Frank just so excited for us, because he was always, like, we would joke with him, and we'd be like, oh, Frank, we're not that good, like, we're gonna mess up, and, you know, who thinks that we're gonna place? And he would always be like, you are, like, believe in yourself. He was always, like, motivating us, and just seeing how excited he was, it was amazing.
Yeah, it's so awesome when you get that award, and it's so encouraging to know that your achievements haven't gone unnoticed.
Yeah.
Like, you worked so darn hard on this project, and then you get recognized for it. It's a great feeling.
And I said this so many times last year, but I literally couldn't have done it without Therese. Like, honestly, she is a rock star. It's incredible.
Yeah, that's really awesome that you have a partner who you work so well with. I think you guys work really well together.
Yeah.
All right, moving more to the executive board position.
Yeah.
So what does your position as VP of events entail?
So as VP of events, my main role is to make sure that the slides are all put together and ready to go for the meetings. I mean, with this year specifically, or this semester specifically, I think it's interesting. I mean, with Frank doing the career fair, I've had more of like a hosting role instead of just like the slides. So I think that's super interesting, just like making sure how that all works. Like, it seems like it'd be really easy. I've gotten used to it, but at first I was like, I have to manage sharing the slides on the screen and making sure I'm muted so people don't hear me click, and making sure the chat's pulled up so I'm staying involved, and then turning the slide when people are talking, and then making sure I unmute on my part. It's just like, it seems like it's not a lot, but when I'm sitting there in my room like trying to figure it all out, it's actually kind of funny. But I do the slides and I make sure everything is updated and everyone knows current events or fundraisers and competitions that we do. And then for outside of the meetings, just thinking of ways to have the members like come together and, you know, do more activities and have a different experience outside of just fundraising and competition and doing stuff. Like, it could be on campus, it could be off campus. It's kind of a bummer that we can't really do anything off campus, but or go out into like the Bucks game or the Brewers, or like do a tour of the companies. But it's been awesome having sponsors or companies come on, because it still gives them the communication with the students. But I think the hardest part of my role this semester is just like trying to think of things to do where people will still be engaged, but that's still practicing the social distancing and with the COVID restrictions. But our meeting on Tuesday was pretty fun, so doing Among Us. I'm excited to plan another social like that. So
yeah, that's awesome. I think this year especially you have a lot to juggle with operating the slides and hosting the meetings and everything on the technical side.
Yeah.
It's a lot to juggle in the short meeting period.
Yeah, well, we all have to adjust how we do things. I mean, you do with competitions, so I think we're all rocking it so far.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. Like, we've taken all of the hits that COVID has given us and tried to make the best out of this semester.
Oh, yeah.
So moving more on to your position, what is your favorite part about being VP of events?
Yeah, so I didn't even think about going into events initially. I mean, obviously with marketing, I was going towards VP of marketing, but John's rocking it, so I'm like, I'm not even going to apply to be VP of marketing. But with events, I mean, Teresa and I compete with event planning, and I never really thought that would be something that I'd be interested in. But being the VP of events and competing with it and just like seeing it in my daily life, I love organization. I like having things planned out. I have a huge planner. My phone calendar is like filled with everything I need to do. I'm like, I don't know, I consider myself a really busy person. My friends will say the same thing. It's like, when does Lauren sleep? I don't know. But just like I said, the organization of it, and just like seeing people get excited about doing stuff outside of the org, like I said, with activities, and going back to Among Us, you know, in the breakout rooms, everyone was like, I don't know, just seeing people out of their element, because since we're like professional org, people are always like on point, I feel like, and they have to put on this face like this is an org and it's like a business professional org, like we need to be on our game. But it's fun seeing people loosen up and hang out. That's why I love competition so much, is because it gives people a chance to get to know each other. So I think that's my favorite part.
Awesome. So the next one is, what is a goal that you would like to accomplish this year as VP of events? I know it's kind of like a crazy year with COVID and everything, but I don't know if you have a goal that you wanted to achieve for VP of Events.
Yeah, so I mean, I would say that a goal obviously, it may be a reaching out kind of goal, but to hold an event where we could all come together, even like if we were to have a banquet. Like I'd love to, I always say this about graduation too, like I don't care if we're social distancing and everyone's wearing masks and like we're practicing safety. It would be amazing to have something like that, because since we didn't have the banquet last year, a lot of the stuff we didn't get to do because of such short notice. No one really knew what was going on. But just having like a banquet or having like a social event or doing an activity where we can still practice the social distancing but come together and do something, I think that would be a goal of mine.
Yeah, I agree with that, especially because when we're virtual, we don't always get to see people's faces.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel bad because, like, if I'm walking on campus and somebody is in DECA, like, I wouldn't recognize them. And I would feel so bad that I don't get to reach out and, like, say hi to them and ask them about their day. So,
well,
yeah.
I feel that because, you know, as executive board, we'll have our camera turned on, we'll say hi, and with everyone's cameras off, like, I understand that. Like, I don't ever have my camera on during class, but like you said, I mean, you wouldn't really recognize them, but they could recognize us. Mm-hmm. So it's really unfortunate, but I understand, like, that's how it is. And that's why with us doing more breakout rooms, that will give us the opportunity to get to know the members more. So, I mean, just take it day by day. Things will get figured out, but I want to give people something to really look forward to, like our members look forward to, because I want them to love DECA as much as I do.
Yeah, I agree. So moving more to the competition side of things, what events have you competed in, and what has been the most rewarding event?
So the events that I've competed in would be event planning, and then 2 years ago when Teresa and I got second, that was for entrepreneurship, starting a business. And then last year we tried something new and did an ad campaign. And I think we are still open to trying new competitions, but I think that we'd probably stick with event planning. I don't know if we want to tackle another thing like entrepreneurship again, but I think the entrepreneurship one was the most rewarding. But I could say the same thing about event planning, because at state we got first. So, I don't know. I feel like they're all rewarding. You know, anytime you spend so much time working on it, just like practicing your social or your cues with competition, or, you know, going in and having the mentality like this is how it's going to be, or even with prepared projects, you spend so much time with it. Any of it is rewarding, I feel like. And I just have learned that from being in high school and not achieving anything, and then going to Collegiate DECA, and when I do place, I'm like, that's awesome. So I try and appreciate all of it just because it's a great opportunity.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it. I think that all of them are definitely rewarding, even if I don't do too well in something that I tried that was new. I look at it as like an opportunity to learn, because I put myself out there and I tried something new. Especially coming from someone who's not a business major, it's kind of cool to try something like marketing or like restaurant management, something that I wouldn't necessarily go into in my future.
It gives you an outlook on what scenario could come out of it, and if you're ever put into a situation like that, it just is like, oh, I remember doing that in, you know, one of my DECA competitions. I think I have like a solution, and I feel like any of that could make a difference. And so I don't always try and limit myself to one competition or case. I try and move around just because of that, you know. With my education, like I'm a marketing major, so I am mostly studying marketing, and with doing the different case studies or events, you get that experience with different things, and it gives you more of like a edge, I'd say, like, oh, I competed in this, and this, and they're like, oh, wow, and you kind of learn something from that because you spend so much time working on it.
I agree that competition is a good opportunity to like diversify your skills. So speaking of skills, what is the most important thing that DECA has taught you?
I would say the most important thing would be to get out of my comfort zone. So I never really stood up and talked in front of a bunch of people, and I never really liked the spotlight. I mean, I still really don't, but I have just learned, like, you gotta put yourself out there and make the most of it, and if you don't, then you're just missing out on opportunities, like we were just talking about. It's just all about the opportunities in life, and because of Collegiate DECA, it's taught me that we're all in it together, because even referring back to high school, everyone was doing it for themselves, but what I learned with Collegiate DECA is that we're all in it together. We all want to succeed, and if you don't, it's not like, oh wow, they didn't do good. It's like you did the best you could. We can look at it and make sure that you learn from what you did, and you always have the next time to make it better. It's such a different mentality, and I feel like that's kind of what it taught me, is just everyone screws up or makes mistakes, and no one's perfect, and we're all kind of learning at the same pace. And so, or even different paces, like you got freshmen and then you have seniors, or you have someone who's studying to be like an accountant, and then you have someone who's marketing. I mean, I suck at accounting, so I could never do accounting, but it's just so nice to be part of an org and be involved with the campus, because I see a lot of my friends who aren't involved in anything, and I always bug them, join DECA. I'm like, and at this point I'm like, you don't even have to join DECA, just join something, because they have no idea what's going on with campus. And so it has taught me to like appreciate the communication and the organization and the responsibility of doing stuff and getting things done.
Yeah, I agree with the whole we're all in this together thing. Like, one of my favorite things is sitting in the audience and you see a Whitewater person go up, and then another, and they win, and it's just so exciting and so thrilling to see all the hard work that people put in, because you see it. You see the hard work that others put in. They come to study nights. They spend a lot of their winter break doing it. So I just think it's so rewarding to see all your, like, friends and DECA members get up on stage.
Oh my gosh. Everyone is like cheering, and we have a whole section, and even when you get called up, everyone is just back there like, I knew she'd do great, but this just proves that she's awesome or he's awesome, and it's just having that support is amazing.
Yeah, I agree. So kind of sticking with skills, how have you used skills that DECA has taught you in your professional life or just in your everyday life?
Yeah, I'd definitely say that the skills have been used in my interviews. I would say all around it's helped me with my professionalism, just giving me that edge where now my friends will be like, oh, Lauren's really good at a resume. Ask her for advice. Or, Lauren, I have this interview. Can you prep me for it? Like, seriously, my friend just asked me the other day. I was like, yeah, for sure. And it's just gives me a voice, I would say. And like I said, I never used to be the person to speak up or talk in front of other people. And my family actually used to make fun of me for always saying, So I'd be like, yeah, so I'd, and I feel like with competition and just being able to speak in front of other people, it's taught me to think before I talk and really, slow down, especially with competition. The first criticism that Teresa and I got was, I said too much and she talked way too fast. So we were like, okay, well, we need to change that up a little bit, but I feel like that's what it's kind of taught me every day. And with school especially, going back to that, with classes, they teach you how to do stuff, but it doesn't show you how to incorporate it with, you know, a real life career. And with DECA, I feel like it gives you the opportunity to use the education that you learn and really apply it to real scenarios.
Can definitely relate to being able to speak to people. Definitely in high school, because I joined in high school too. I was definitely way more shy, would not talk to people, like would not stand up in front of people and talk. And DECA has definitely changed that for me. So yeah, that's really awesome that that's done that for you too.
Yeah, well, because, and I know I keep going back to this, but with high school DECA, you know, getting all that discouragement, it's really thrown me in the bag. Like with going into my freshman year at Collegiate, even, like I told you, I didn't really have any friends. I'd come to the meetings, but I wouldn't really talk to anyone. Some e-board members would like come up to me and be like, "Hi, Lauren, like welcome." And that's why I miss in-person meetings. It's just like saying hi to all the members, because I know that made a big difference for me. It made me like want to come back because they like noticed that I was even showing up. And so with high school, I just felt like I was fading away in like the crowd, and then the people who would succeed were the only ones being noticed. So I think that's a big difference in confidence and just wanting to stay involved.
So our last question is, anything else that you would like to add?
Yeah, so I know it's a really, really small thing. Not a lot of people know about it, but I just had my first meeting with the executive board of DAC, which is the Dean's Advisory Council. And like I said, it's really small. No one really knows about it. But in the meeting yesterday, one of the assistant dean asked me, he's like, "What do you want to change about this little organization that we have?" And I said that I want it to be more recognized, because I think it's actually a really good organization. It gives representatives from organizations of the campus a voice and a chance to talk to the dean. Last year, I would attend, and only a few like representatives from the orgs would show up, and the meetings would be 10 minutes. And everyone kind of just went around and said, "Well, our org next week is doing this," and "Oh, we just competed for this." And it's like, that's great, like we're getting to know that, but no one's like I said, it was 10 minutes, no one was really like learning anything about the orgs, and the dean would like give us some updates, and that would be it. And when I was in this meeting yesterday, he explained to me what DAC really was. And I think that was the first time I ever really knew what it was. And it really changed things for me. Like, this gives organizations the chance to really ask the dean questions, or really let them know what's going on with the orgs, and giving the orgs a chance to interact with other orgs, because we're so, as members, or a lot of these people are board members of their org, it gives them a chance to come out of that little bubble that they're in, because I think it'd be really beneficial for the orgs to really come together besides homecoming and share what they're really doing. Like, hey, we're having a fundraiser. I think it'd be awesome for you guys to all kind of let your orgs know that this is going on. It would benefit not just us, but the community, which is what's really important, is just the outreach of the community and making sure that the campus is united. And so it also gives the dean outlook, and it's like, it doesn't have to be about the org. You can talk about or mention like, "Oh, how are your classes going? Are you all online? Are you hybrid? Or would you prefer to go back all on campus?" And that would give him perspective. Like, "Oh, I have hybrid classes, but I chose to do them all online because it's easier for me." And some people are like, "Well, I'm on campus half the time and I'm not on campus the other half of the time." But it will give them like perspective of like how to really run the campus, because he's so consumed with like his responsibilities. Or even just talking about professors and oh, this professor, he doesn't really make time for his students, and he doesn't give us really good instructions. Like, those are his staff, and we're paying for our education. I think it'd be really important to share that information with the dean, because we're getting this time with him, so make the most of it. So I'm really excited to be the new president, and the assistant dean was really excited to hear all those things. He's like, that's exactly how I want it. That's exactly how I want it to be seen. And not a lot of people, like I said, not a lot of people know about it, but I think it'd be really important for people to be, to recognize it and really take advantage of it. So, yeah, super excited to have this new role and share it with everyone.
Yeah, that's so exciting. Congratulations on president.
Thank you.
It's very cool that you get to be involved with something other than DECA. I know DECA is like huge and everything, but it's exciting that you get to be part of DAC too.
Yeah.
So thank you, Lauren, for joining me. And just for our UW-DECA members, I wanted to say that you can look at our updates on uwwdeca.com. Some things that we have coming up are BMEA judging, so if you want to sign up for that, I would sign up as soon as possible. And then also we have the virtual case simulation coming up. You can register yourselves, but we do encourage you to sign up so that we can get you your membership number. So thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you, Lauren, for coming and sitting.
Thank you, Tayler, for having me.
Have a good rest of your day, everybody.
Bye.